Hey all, for the first assignment in VCC, so we have to use VirtualBox or any virtualization tool and create multiple virtual machines and connect these virtual machines to help them communicate with each other and host microservice-based applications on the multiple VMs and let them talk to each other, right? So that's the idea. So what we are going to do is first of all install VirtualBox. So if you can see here, so this is the Oracle VirtualBox that we have installed. This is an open source that's easily available over the internet, and then this can be downloaded and installed. So once we install, we need to download the ISO image for the operating system that we want to install into the virtual machine. So for the same, I chose Ubuntu server, and since this is a MacBook Silicon, so we have choose the ARM based ISO image. So for the Ubuntu server, I've downloaded the long term stable version, that is 24 version for the Ubuntu server. And so once this is downloaded, you get something like this. So this is the ISO image that is downloaded. So it's almost like 3 gigs. So depending on your network speed, this is going to vary, right? So once this is downloaded, this is the important step. What we want to do is, so we want to have a new virtual machine created using the ISO image that is available, right? So you have to just go to others and then go to the downloads, select your ISO image that you want to use. So ISO is nothing but the OS image that we want to flash onto this new virtual machine, right? So and then the next thing that we want to do, so once you select this ISO, right? So say you want to give what is the username, password. You want to change this, say temp, and then temp, and then you want to change the sorry, right? And then there was a problem. Yeah. Okay. So host name you can give something like okay. And what is the error that I'm getting? Yeah. VM name. Okay. Okay. So once these things are done, like you can specify what is the amount of disk size that you want to give for this virtual machine, like how much of the entire available space that you want in your laptop, right? So how much you want to virtualize and give it for this particular virtual machine, and then you can specify the number of CPU cores that you want to give and all those. But we can just let this go for defaults for now. We don't want to bother about that right away. So you just click on finish and then you start the virtual machine. So you once the first time you start the virtual machine, the kernel is going to get installed and it's going to take a long time, right? So for example, so that's how this would work. Yeah. So this is a new VM that we are creating for the purpose of demo. So I'm just letting it install in the default way. So if you see, this is going to take a lot of time, almost close to 15-20 minutes or 25 minutes. So for the sake of demo, I am stopping this installation. You can just let it complete. So that's how, like, it will start installing the kernel and everything, right? So it's going to take some time. Okay. So for now, I'm going to shut down that VM that I created and probably just even remove that. I don't want it unnecessarily. It's going to occupy my RAM and hard disk. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I have two VMs installed, VM1 and VM2. So what is my plan is I will have one microservice running on VM1 and another different microservice running on VM2. The VM1 microservice exposes an endpoint and VM2 microservice also exposes another endpoint. This endpoint, when called, internally calls this endpoint in VM2, fetches some data, takes it back to VM1 and then gives it back to the caller. So that is our entire idea. For the same, I've chose Java services, like I work on Java primarily. So we have created the service 1 here, that is nothing but get name from service 2, that is the service 1. For the sake of simplicity, this will do nothing but hit the API, hit the network here, like the service running on VM2, the other virtual machine, and it will call this API called return name. So this API we have written it in another service. So yeah, it will just fetch the name into this like URL, and then it will fetch the name and then return it back to the controller. Okay, returning back to the controller, and the controller is going to return back to the calling service, right? So this is service 1 and this is service 2. Okay, so I'll open it in a new window. So service 2 controller is what is the return name controller that we have. So that's again a get method, and this will do nothing but return plain the string. So VCC assignment by Arun Prasad Mohan. So very simple plain vanilla microservice that we have here. So we built both the services, get the jars, and I have already copied the jars onto my desktop. It's called service 1 and service 2 jars. So before we copy this to the VMs, we have something else to do, right? So both these VMs are now attached to NAT, network address translation, right? But we need to change their settings in such a way that they are attached to the bridge adapter. Why we do that? See, now when they are in NAT, right? So it's like each service cannot talk to each other. They are isolated and they have the same IP. So when we change the network mode to bridged adapter, which means for the local area network, like for the Wi-Fi that I have in my house, each of the VM is going to behave like an independent physical device. So I'll have independent IP addresses for each of the VM that is running, and that is connected directly to my Wi-Fi router. So for my Wi-Fi router, each of the VM will be something like a physical system for that. Okay, so the first thing to do is change the network mode to bridged adapter. So earlier it used to be in NAT, like by default. We have to change it to bridged adapter, and we also have to change the promiscuous mode to allow all. Else our local MacBook cannot ping the VM IP, but the VM indeed can ping the Mac, but Mac cannot be able to ping the VM. It will be in deny by default. So we have to change it to allow all, and you can refresh the MAC address whenever you change it to bridged adapter, so that we just are very sure that we have a unique MAC address for the VM that we are creating. So that this change has to be done for both the VMs. Okay, so that being said, what I did is so I sorry, so I hosted an Python local server, so that will expose my desktop, so that from these two VMs I can just download the jars and install them in the VMs. So now I'll go to the VMs. I'll demo how this works. Okay, so the VM 1 is running. So I have to log in. So you remember these are the login VM login credentials that we gave while creating the virtual machine, right? So this VM is now on. We have logged into the VM, right? So as I said, I already have the Python server that was running, and then I have downloaded using the vget command. So from the local server, like I now have my service 1 jar in my virtual machine 1, right? So this service I'll bring it up using the plain Java commands, right? So now this is up. Okay, so maybe I'll just show what is the IP of this. So this is 192.168.29.182, right? So this is 182 on my local on my LAN, right? So now I'll bring up the application. Okay, so the app is up. Now I will switch on my second VM. Okay, and I am logging into my second VM as well. I'll change the input. It's too small. Okay, right? So again, similarly, I have downloaded from my MacBook into the VM using vget command, because I already have a Python server running there. So you see the service 2 jar here. I'll now bring this up as well using service 2.jar. Great. So both the services are running up and running now. So to test the connectivity between my MacBook and the VMs that we have created, we'll just try a simple ping to 29.182. This is my VM1. Yes, I can see VM1 is responding. Great. VM2, anyways, I'm not going to talk to it directly. VM1 is going to talk to VM2. So between them, the connectivity is established. We can even test that. Okay. Okay, I'll just stop the service for a while and ping VM2. 92.168.29.253. Yes. Right. So there is no packet loss. Great. I'll bring back the service again. Okay, great. So now what we'll do, from the Mac terminal, we'll use the curl command, okay, and then try to hit the VM1's endpoint that will indirectly talk to VM2 and fetch the output, right? So 182, we are on port 8080, and what was the controller's name? Sorry, I forgot. Memory, right? Yep. Okay, so we have a curl verbose on, and then we are hitting the get name from service 2. Okay. Yes. So VCC assignment by Arun Prasad Mohan is what we got. And where did we get this from? See, this controller get name from service 1 is the service 1 controller, and if you see the service class, this will in turn hit the other VM which has the return name endpoint, and return name endpoint is in another module, like completely another different service, microservice. This return name will just return VCC assignment by Arun Prasad Mohan, and that is what we see in the MacBook terminal, VCC assignment by Arun Prasad Mohan.